So what's up? Why John Cornelius, Alex? What do you like about John?
What's not to like about John? I think John's like legitimately a magical genius. I remember I had no idea who John Cornelius was, and I remember being younger and finding the Pallbearers Review, the Carl Foles magazine, and there was a spotlight magazine on John Cornelius, and it blew my mind that so much great magic in this one issue of this magazine was all from the same creator, right? Because I sort of dabbled in a couple magic magazines, and it was like if you see a guy with a good idea, that was like a big deal. But this guy had so many good ideas, and right around that time, I was fortunate that I was, in magic when the guy put stuff out on the market. And it's funny. I mean, he's got to be one of the most ripped off guys in magic, right? With his beautiful magic pen, right? More people have ripped off that trick than any trick, I think, in magic. It's amazing, dude.
I
But
mean, it's one of them, right?
it's one of
definitely
them.
one of the ones.
It's one of the ones. But John is legitimately a magic genius. He has great ideas. He has offbeat methods for doing things, but he knows how to make a miracle happen, as you'll see with some of these clips today. And I think that today is a good example of John's magic.
Yeah. So this first clip, we're gonna actually watch pin through anything because it's like these guys were just saying, like, talk about a trick that right now, if you Google this, you're gonna find, that it's been ripped off in every way, shape, or form. It's sold in every venue under other names, and this is where it started, right here.
This is it.
This is it. This is the OG. So check it out. This is how it all started right here. Okay, let's take a look at this first clip. Let me know, boys, if you can see this or not. Yeah?
Yep.
Good.
There he is.
Hello, my name is John Cornelius, and I'd like to show you how to tell if a bill is counterfeit or not. What you do is you take a bill and you take a sharp object like a pen or a pencil. In this case, we'll use a pen. You straighten the bill out, and then you take the pen and you poke a little hole right through the bill. Now that's the hole test. Next, we're going to give it the tear test. That's where you take the pen and tear it right through the bill. Now, if it's a real bill and you rub just right, the hole will heal up and the little tear will heal up. If it does that, that's a real bill. And that's how you tell if it's counterfeit or not.
How great is that? And it's like the best performance you ever seen of it, right? Everyone else sort of messes up that penetration. Like he has the timing right on it.
The way he does this part of it, the way he folds the bill like that, I never did it like that. I always did it like this, right? So I always would have, sorry, I'm using a battery, but I always would have the pin like that when I did the rip. But he's got a nice little touch there that I forgot. It's probably in the instructions to hold it like that. It's much more visible.
In his instructions, I think when people rip this thing off, you didn't necessarily get all of John's touches. And it's weird because when John put it out, it was all those touches and it was like $100, right? When that thing first came out, like in the late 80s, it was $100. Like that was the first, in my memory, that's like the first real, like widespread commercially available $100 magic trick, right? Like tricks weren't $100 before that. That one hurt my mind, and it took me a long time to be able to get it. And I had to watch the price go down because so many people ripped it off. But I have like the whole suite of all of John's gaffs, the way with all the special things that make it move, and like the paper on the gaff so that it looks like it really punctured the, like I have the whole suite of stuff. But it was like at the end of that, because he had to get rid of it because everyone was ripping him off, and you could buy a big pen for like $10. You know what I mean? That did the same thing, and it was heartbreaker, just a total.
What's up, Michael Sproul? Michael Sproul, the OG is here. Do you have this trick, Michael? Just curious if you've got the pin through anything. You
probably should go the other way. Put a 1 if you don't have the pin through.
Yeah, put a 1 in chat if you don't have this trick. So I do remember this as a kid. I remember seeing this too, Alex, and it hurt my brain too. Like there was no explanation in my mind for how that worked. I was like, what is it about, I've always said like optical illusion is the optical illusions are my favorite types of illusions because they're so strong. And it's not, of course, that's not entirely the method. However, there is something very optical going on there with the method. And if you don't really know how that's done, it's impossible. Like what you just see is totally impossible. The perfect illusion.
It's great. And I think it still stands up today, even though it's sort of, because it's sort of out there everywhere because it was so ripped off. I think it still stands up. I mean, that if you haven't seen that before, I would bet you that fooled you. And that's probably the question. Those of you that don't have the pen, did that fool you? Put a 1 in the chat if that actually fooled you. Good. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Couple.
But you're magic guys, right? So
I've seen. There's a friend of mine in town who this is his #1 thing he does. Right. Like
right on.
anytime we're paying the bill at the coffee shop or, at the convenience store or whatever. Like, doesn't matter how busy the waitress is, right? Doesn't matter. It's gonna see the pen go through the bill. And I would say that most people haven't seen this, no matter what we think. I mean, I've seen the looks on people's faces, and it's stunning. It's really stronger than you think it is from what we just saw.
It's a good zoom trick too, by the way.
This is a great trick, yeah.
Harris Feldman is here. Harris, this is a good trick for your Zoom show. He says he has 3 of them on his desk right now. I'm assuming.
Wow, there's no excuse. You should put it in your Zoom show today.
I've been
working it.
I'm thinking as we're sitting here, like, where is mine? I have like somewhere.
Me too. Where is mine? So we know John Cornelius is a genius inventor because along the way he invented so many dang good gimmicks and ideas. So this next thing is a little bit dated because it uses cigarette and no one hardly smokes anymore. So, but this one in particular is a quickie, and I think is pretty fantastic too, right, Alex?
It's pretty fantastic and super clever. Like the method on this is just as cool as the trick. So
right,
it's fun to watch all the way around.
All right, let's take a look.
Watch, we'll do it with the sleeves rolled up. And for this, I need a cigarette. To make it even more difficult, I will light the cigarette. Lit cigarette, empty hand. Now watch, I place the cigarette into the empty hand. I show the other hand empty, just a snap, and you get the mystery of the lit cigarette. Watch. Woo. That's the mystery of the lit cigarette.
That's awesome.
Pretty awesome.
I forgot all about that.
I saw somebody do that at the Magic Castle one time in the parlor, and yeah, Garnet, that's a really good one because it's actually the second part that shocks you so much, right? Yeah. But I saw somebody do this at the parlor, and I remember they were like, the lady sitting next to me was like, "Oh, I cannot believe he's smoking in here." It was so fun.
That was the effect to her.
Yeah.
Smoking inside.
Why? Wait, she did. I mean, the thing had just vanished and appeared in his mouth when he turned around, and it's pretty impossible. And she's focused on the whole part that he was about. But anyway, yeah, how the heck, right, Lou Inton? How the heck? Well, you have to buy it if you want to figure out how. But let's just say it's really clever. Really clever. Wouldn't you say? Very clever.
I think it's very clever. And it came from it's all like based on something that exists in the real world. He like found something in the hardware store that led to the whole discovery, right? It's like, and that's why John Cornelius is so awesome, because he's got this offbeat way of looking at things, and like they become magic gimmicks in his mind when he sees a regular everyday world object, And then we get
our friend Nate Kranzo had something like this that was really cool. Do you remember that?
Yeah, Kranzo does have something very similar to this. Yeah, Kranzo is one of those guys too that's got real offbeat thoughts on things, and comes up with really wild tricks like this. He's the Cornelius-like guy.
Stick around after we conclude the recording, and we'll talk a little bit about it. I think about like there's 2 kinds of magicians. Well, there's probably more than that, but there's the guy who studies, work that's out there. He studies books, he masters stuff that exists. And then there's like tinkerers, there's inventors. And typically your inventors will take different approaches to classical things. They'll come up with entirely new ideas. And John is one of these guys. If you haven't seen any of his books, if you don't know anything about John Cornelius's work, there is There's a book that came out in 2002 by Lance Pierce called The Award-Winning Magic of John Cornelius. Do you have that one?
Underrated book. I have it here on the shelf. Let me grab it here. Hang on. It's a good one. It's underrated. Like I can't believe it's like it's still in print and it shouldn't still be in print.
Right. And then in the 80s, there was the John Cornelius card system put out by John.
That's actually in here too. It's all in the book.
Yeah, here, let me spotlight you.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's all in the book. This book has all the stuff, and John is legitimately a magic genius. You know, he's one of those rarefied guys that just comes up with these ideas that,
and he recently,
for me, I would never come up with these things. It's awesome, you know.
What'd you say, Steve?
I think he recently passed away, didn't he?
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah, 2019. He died in 2019. He sure did. Look at Ron Porter's comment. He says his lecture was filled with things from the hardware store. So clever.
I love that.
Yep.
I do too. I love
the dollar store, like stuff you find at the dollar store you can work in. I love that.
You know who else is like that is these guys are probably a lot more like him than he's like them, but Gaetan Bloom.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that's like just a super genius. He can take an object and make it do things that you wouldn't expect, and you know, just a different point of view. I appreciate guys like that.
I love that little MacGyver-ish. You know, that little
right.
Kind of I don't know what you want to say, flavor, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
The name of the book was The Award-Winning Magic of John Cornelius, which apparently you can still find.
They're in the CC store now. You can go and get it.
No
and
kidding.
Get it while you can. Yeah, get it while you can.
Okay.
I don't know. Who knows how long that thing will be around for? Because I think people are hip to them. People know, but that book sort of just went without any fanfare. It just sort of came out and was just there on the shelf.
All right. So this next bit is pretty incredible. It's a 10-minute long clip, which we'll break it up a little bit. But Alex, tell us why you chose this one.
So this was John's FISM act, and John went to FISM as a magician, right? He's like, well, I'll bring my stuff with me, you know, maybe I'll do some magic when I'm there, but I've always wanted to know what FISM's about. And it was his first time to Europe, and he went, and, you know, and they told him, oh, it's an official thing, you know, there's all kinds of politics involved. You have to join the club, and you have to pay your dues, and then they'll let you compete and all that. And he's like, great, well, I'm just going to hang out at the convention and have fun. Gets to the end of all the performances, all the competition. He goes up to the judges. He's like, hey, I know I'm not a member or anything, but I'd love to compete if there's room, if you can put me in there. Like, yeah, do it. Go in. So he goes on stage and he wins by like 7 points. And usually these things are like within 1 or 2 points of each other, but he wins FISM, and he becomes this, you know, FISM champion. This is one of the pieces of that FISM act. And this is, he sort of gives a little demo to it, but it's a little intro to it. It's every card trick in the world in under 10 minutes. So you get a little bit of every kind of card trick in here, and it's really funny and clever. And, you know, it's just got all these, there's things in here that you might decide that you are inspired by and will influence you to do something. I would imagine there's going to be at least one thing within this segment of card tricks here that you're going to go, ooh, I like that. I think I might think about that one for a minute. So it's really fun.
Here's the Magic Castle, and a lot of them do card magic. Well, I didn't want to duplicate any of the effects the other magicians were doing, so I decided I would duplicate them all. Tonight, what I would like to try and do is every card effect in the world in under 10 minutes, ending up with the famous mentally selected card in the balloon. And to make it even more difficult, I'm going to find 52 mentally selected cards and deal out 4 aces from a shuffled deck. Does that sound like a good trick? Huh? Yeah. I kind of wish I could do that one. Okay, well, I'll give it a shot. Okay, every card trick in the world in under 10 minutes. Now, if I had someone think of a card and later on I found it in the balloon, you would think that I had something prearranged. So this is a little random spectator selector. I'm going to blow it up. I'd like for someone to catch the balloon. Thank you. Don't try it the hard way. Someone catch the balloon. Okay, does someone catch it? Would you think of a card, any card in the deck, but don't think of the ace of spades, because everyone thinks of that. Okay? Now, here it is. Every card trick in the world in under 10 minutes. And to make it more difficult, everyone think of a card. And I'll try and find your cards also. Okay? A deck of cards. Poker-sized deck. I always use poker-sized deck because they're a little bit easier to see. We'll place those right there. And I think the problem comes at the end of the trick when I have to put them back in the little box. It's kind of strange. Here we go. 52 different cards. Okay, what I'm going to do, first of all, I will shuffle the deck. Now, I think you'll agree those cards are being shuffled. We'll shuffle the deck. And everyone's thinking of a card. I'm going to have some people select a card. Sir, you're up here close. Would you just say stop anytime you want as I go through the pack?
Stop.
Okay, would you like to stop there or go further?
Stop right there.
Right there, look. Would you take that card and look at it? Can you see that card?
Yes, sir.
Okay, whatever you do, don't forget it, please. Okay, now, and you're close. Well, you're close. Would you say stop anywhere?
Stop.
Right there? Or go further?
Stop.
Right there. Would you look at that card? And remember what it is. Everyone help her right there? Okay, now you think of a card. You've got a card in your mind. Now I'm going to shuffle the cards again. I think you'll agree those cards are being shuffled. And let's see, who else has one? Okay, did you pick one here? Would you say stop?
Stop.
Would you look at that card? Remember what it is. Okay, I'll leave it exactly where it is in the pack. And sir, you didn't pick a card yet,
No.
but would you say stop anywhere in the pack?
Stop.
Would you look at that card and remember what it is? Okay, now we have 4 cards. You're thinking of each one thinking of a card. I'm going to try and find the first card here. Now, I found I can cut to exactly 26 cards. So what I have to do is to shuffle the deck, getting your card to exactly 26. Okay? Now that did it. Now, one simple cut. Look. And that puts your card exactly 26. Now it's a simple matter of cutting to the 26th card. One card jumped out. What was your card?
Ace of Hearts.
Ace of Hearts. Woo, there it is. Okay, Ace of Hearts. Let's try it again. Who took the next one? You've got one. What was your card?
Ace of diamonds.
Ace of Diamonds. I'm going to shuffle your card to a certain position. Would you name a number between 20 and 30? Any number.
25.
25. I'm going to shuffle your Ace of Diamonds to exactly 25 cards down. Now I'm going to take this gentleman's Ace of Hearts, toss it up into the air, have it spin around 25 times, and land right next to your Ace of Diamonds. I hope. Here you are. Here goes. They're up into the air, landing right next to the 25th card. Okay, that's 25. I'll prove it to you. Look, there's 2, 3, 15, 23, 20, 25, right there. Now, I'll leave them exactly right there. Now, had I got one card lower, I would have got this card, or one card higher, I would have got any one of these cards, but I hit right there. And what was your card again?
Ace of diamonds.
Ace of Diamonds? Let's see. Sometimes I miss. Well, I didn't that time. That's close enough. Okay. Let's try it again. I'll shuffle the cards.
I mean, so already it's just like this is just like this is like a machine gun of magic, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
let's not forget he started with a tiny little box of cards and pulled out a full-size deck and just threw that away like that was no big trick at all, you know? Gosh, and I think that's a great that his version of that trick is really unusual and great as well. But he just is such a throwaway, it's just the way he opened.
It's just a gag, totally.
Yeah, but that, I mean, the way he just handled those cards, pretty beautiful, man.
Right, expert level.
Expert level. His hands are very smooth. Somebody just pointed that out in the chat. Like his riffles is in the hands, air riffles with the waterfall, and I mean, it's just
And the side steals, and I mean, come on, like all those controls. It was he's the real deal.
Yeah.
In addition to having all these great creative methods for all these offbeat tricks, right? He's also just an expert card handler. He's just an expert magician. It's amazing.
Yeah, and it's hard to, because he's such an inventor. He's known for so many things like pin through anything. It's hard to keep your mind on the fact that he really had a mastery of cards in a deep sense, like,
and coins and like ropes and balls, like all of it. Like he's a classical magician, but he's also a creative genius, right? It's really awesome. Very inspirational.
I hate guys like that. Oh, I just want to.
Well, I think all we can do is bask in their light and take what we can take from being in, you know, in the presence of guys like that. Because the reality is I'm not going to be that guy. But if something can rub off, or, you know, being able to smile that big at looking at something like that inspires another thought down the line, and, you know, it's all worth it. You can only do what you can do, right?
Steve, what do you think about that cut gag too? About I'm going to do this one simple cut.
Yeah, I mean, this got to be like 70s, right?
No, this is 80s.
80s.
80s, yeah.
I mean, it's interesting because it wasn't that much in vogue back then as it is now, you know, to have all that cut. And so for when he's whipping that out in that time frame, he's ahead of his time. I mean, he really is.
And it's a gag too, right? He's doing it because he's at the castle, right? At the castle, there's clearly guys that are in that audience that are like, wow, look at this guy work. This guy's an amazing technician. And for him to just put a little wink and a little poke of like, and now I do just a simple cut. They go, he's messing with us.
Yeah.
It's good. Exactly. It's a good moment, man. Perfect use of that flourish.
All right, let's press on. Here we go. All right.
So we have the 2 aces found.
Yeah.
You take, sir?
8 of diamonds.
8 of diamonds. And what card did you take?
10 of spades.
10 of spades. Okay, watch. One little cut here like this, and the 10 of spades automatically comes to the top of the deck sometimes. I'll try it again. Look, one little cut, and it automatically comes to the top of the deck. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll make up for it. Here's what I'll do. I'll just do this little move like this, and I'll find all 4 10s for you at one time. How's that? Okay, and you, sir, chose the, what was it?
8 of diamonds.
8 of diamonds. Watch. I'm going to shuffle the 8 of diamonds to a certain position in the pack, dealing out E, I, G, H, T, O, F, D, I, A, M, O, N, D, S. Period. Automatically, we get the 8 of diamonds. Okay, everyone's thinking of a card. Who thought of the 2 of spades? Nobody? Ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to believe this, but I knew no one would think of the 2 of spades, so I thought of it myself. Now, had you thought of the 2 of spades, I could just take my hand, wave it over the deck, and you notice the 2 of spades slowly comes rising out of the center of the deck.
That was not easy to do, folks.
No.
And he turns, he shows it from the front and then the back. Come on, dude. Whew. Wow. Okay.
Okay, that's one. I promised I would find all 52. I'm going to give him one more shuffle. Okay, everyone's thinking of a card. Okay, who thought of a red card? Raise your hand. Red card. Okay, now if you thought of a red card, there's your card. If you thought of a black card, there's your card. Thank you.
These people, they don't even know what's hitting them. Like,
Yeah.
Because remember, at the beginning of this routine, he did tons of riffle shuffles. This deck's now back in order, or it's so much that it's separated into reds and blacks. So something happened there, and I believe, I believe I saw when it happened, because it was quite a nice.
He fumbled more than he should have at that moment.
I know. It was like, I was like, oh,
he was under the lights. It's the one they recorded. What are you gonna do, right?
Okay, but that was still great, and we're 60% the way through, and I'm seeing more magic than in most close-up shows at the Magic Castle already. What does OG mean? OG means the original.
I think it's original gangster.
Well, yeah, but it's also short for original. It's the OG.
The OG gangster, man.
It's like a
Sproul.
We heavily borrowed it from the rap industry, I believe. Okay, yeah,
We culturally appropriated it.
I believe we did. Yeah. All right, here we go. Back to John Cornelius. Let's check out the rest of the 1,000,000 card trick routine.
Okay. A lot of people say, is it possible after all that shuffling to deal yourself 4 aces? Well, the answer is no. You see, I wouldn't do that because there's only one hand that would beat that, and that'd be a royal flush, which we have right here, a 10, a jack, a queen, a king, and the ace of spades. So, yeah, the hard part comes now putting the cards back in this little box. So I worked out a way of doing this. If that ever happens, what you need is a little bit of shrinking powder. I have some right here. You take the shrinking powder, you sprinkle it over the deck. Oops, don't spill it on yourself. And oh my God, this is incredible. I wish you could see this close up. Those cards are shrinking. They're getting smaller, they're getting smaller, they're getting smaller until they fit right back into that little box. I think I put a little bit too much. If that ever happens, you're in trouble.
Another John Cornelius original there.
Such a neat little touch, you know what I mean? To end it that way, to have like a little visual thing to end it with.
Yeah, yeah. Was that half and half too? Did he? Because the way that I can't remember, but the way that trick, the shrinking cards, is that originally written up? Did he split the 2 halves of that trick up into different parts, or
that's 2 different tricks?
It is 2 different. Okay.
Right? The only way he can do it is the way he did it, where he bookends it, put part of it at the beginning and part of it at the end. Yeah.
So structurally, it was pretty awesome there.
Yeah.
That was a very visual moment too. Like you got to think, like, how many ways can you really take a regular sized deck of cards and cram them back in a little one? But it really did, the way he handled those, it really did look like they were getting smaller when he was doing this. Like I couldn't tell if they really were.
There's only 2 versions that I've seen that really work of that trick, right? Well, no, maybe there's a third one. Gary Kurtz had one too, I forgot about. But Tommy Wonder and this, right? Those are the 2 guys that really worked on that plot and made it to be like a believable visual trick, right? Because I think the other attempts you see are sort of like, right, and it's implied rather than you visually see the stuff go in like it should.
Right. All right. Let's press on. He is almost done. I have a feeling the climax is coming.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, every card trick in the world in under 10 minutes. We're running out of time. Watch. Not only that, if I snap my fingers, the cards jump back into my pocket. Other than that, the deck has turned blue. If I take the cards out of the box, you notice the card case does not shrink. Oh, okay. Not only did they not shrink, and not only did every card in the deck turn blue, they have all turned blank. Every card in the deck is blank. Other than that, if I take my hand, I give a little static electricity, I wave my hand over that blue deck very slowly. Watch what happens. You see, every card in that deck turns red. Not only did every card in that deck turn red, all of them turned red except one card, which remained blue. Who caught the balloon? What card were you thinking of?
3 of diamonds.
Would that be a good trick if that was your card?
Yes.
No, that's my Visa card.
I was about to be pissed.
I know, I was too.
I was really about to be pissed. Because if he was going to get that right there, I was just like,
Yeah.
how in the hell?
Right.
Turn blue, your card has jumped inside of my coat pocket. Not this one here. This one here. Yeah, you ever seen a magician's coat before? That's what they look like, yeah. No, not only is your card...
Total inside great joke. But you can only do that one at the magic lecture, right?
I don't know. You'll see. I think it's a real effect. I think you can keep it going.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I interrupted too much.
Inside my pocket, it has jumped inside a zippered wallet. Not only has it jumped into a zippered wallet, it has jumped inside here into a sealed envelope. It has expanded to 5 times its original size. The back is changed back to red. There is my signature. One of these corners do match. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, your card.
Long way to go.
Oh, well, let's try it again. I promised I would end up with someone just merely thinking of a card and having it appear in a balloon, right? Watch. All of that. You've heard of the card in the balloon? This is the balloon in the card. See, we have a little balloon. Now all that remains is to pop that balloon, finding your card. What was the card you just thought of?
3 of diamonds.
3 of diamonds. Watch. All we do is this. We pop the balloon. We get the 3 of diamonds, giving us every card effect in the world. Thank you.
How?
You don't want to know, man. You don't want to know.
I might not. I actually might not want to know.
I couldn't even think about trying to do that routine.
You know, that was back when magicians were like magicians.
Like
Magicians.
hardcore?
Yeah.
Hardcore, yeah.
It's like,
Whatever it takes, kind of.
Yeah.
hardcore.
exactly.
Yeah.
That I would stand to say that 10 minutes of magic took at least 10 years.
Yeah.
To
Oh, at least.
It's a lot of heavy stuff sitting there.
I would say he probably spent 10 years on it once he gathered all the stuff, right? Like once he collected all that stuff as a magician, he went, all right, now what's all the best stuff to do in all the card tricks in under 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, because I mean, just even all the deck organization that had to happen, like the card stacking and like the processes that had to take place in there.
Not to mention all the legitimate card magic that he did before he got into all the Gaffa stuff, right? I mean, it's just, there's so much there.
Was the part when he opened his jacket though and he had all the matching corners, is that just a gag?
That was a gag.
Okay,
Yeah, it's just a gag.
Showing the gag inside the box was a magical moment, right? Because there's two ways it could have gone, right?
Right.
We'll talk about in the after show.
Okay. All right. Very good. Well, that was John Cornelius, every trick in the world. And I guess he did have actually a little bit of every single plot of card magic in there.
Kinda, yeah. Enough that the illusion is strong that he did them all, right?
Yeah, right.
I wonder if he could go for like a Guinness World Record with that act.
Well, we definitely know he could win FISM with that act.
Right, because that was actually part of it.
That's part of the FISM act.
How long does your FISM act have to be, Alex? Do you know?
I don't know. I'm not an expert on that. I would imagine someone in the club knows. Someone has to know. Does anyone here know how long your act has to be? Long enough to win. Good answer. There you go.
Garnet says he won twice.
Who?
Oh,
Cornelius?
Yeah, that could be the case. That could be the case, Garnet.
Huh.
I'm sure you're looking at the internet, so I'm sure it is the case.
Yes, everything on the internet is true.
Right. I read that on the internet too.
So you saved the borrow bill routine for last, right?
I did. I think this is the best way to use a bill switch in front of people, where it's something that like makes sense. It goes full circle, because I think the idea of borrowing $100 bill from someone and then changing it into a $1 bill and then back into 100, it sort of falls flat, right? It's like, why did you do that? You know? And I think that question comes up more often than magicians want to admit. Like, what was the point of that? You know? I think that it should be obvious what the point is of that, why you did that, change that into another bill. And this routine for me checks all the boxes. First, it's got fire. Second, It's got money, and it's got a logical progression to the whole thing, and you come full circle with it. I think it's really one of the best routines of its kind. So I think that's enough. We should just watch the thing.
I'm excited. I haven't seen this in a long time. All right, here we go. And Harry Anderson is here.
Yeah.
With a haircut.
This evening, it is my pleasure to introduce to you here at the Magic Castle a true magician's magician, Mr. John Cornelius.
Okay, does anyone have a $100 bill I can borrow? Or a 50 or a 20? I'll give it right back. Anybody? They don't trust me. Anyone have a bill? You have a bill, sir? Yeah, the larger the bill, the better. And I'll tell you how to tell if a bill is counterfeit or not. What we got here? All right, a 50. Sir, would you verify the last 3 digits of the serial number? Just in case, I mean, when you get your bill back, you'll know that's your bill, okay? Watch, a $50 bill. Now, this is how to tell if it's counterfeit or not. What you do is you take that 50 and you fold it into a real small little bundle like this. And once you get it into a real small little bundle, what you want to do is to reach in your pocket, take out a match, or a lighter, or a flashlight, doesn't matter. And look, you hold it under the light, and if you look close, you can see little red threads. Oh my God. Wow. You see that? You know what that means. If it ever does that, that means that was a real bill. Yeah, you could have spent that one. Okay, let me show you this card. This is great.
You could have spent that one. That's a good line. That's a good line.
Now, no, I'm kidding. Look, I'll do a trick. This is worth $50. You'll love it. Trick with a piece of paper. Now watch that piece of paper, and we get a little bit of the ash here, and we put it down into the paper like that, and we roll that up like that. Now, like that. If you'll take this out in the parking lot and fire that up, it'll make you feel a lot better. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, here it is. Watch, this is a strange illusion. Watch the illusion created as that piece of paper burns down and it turns right back into your rolled up $50 bill. Would you verify that's your 50? And let's give him a big hand for being so good. Okay. Hey, y'all are a great crowd, and everybody having a good time at the castle? Yeah. Great, okay. Same spirit, what's more?
$1 bill.
$1? That's a $1 bill. What a bummer. I'm kidding you. Look. Hey, you've been so nice, I'd like to do one last thing for you. Look, I'll do it with the sleeves rolled up.
Give me $100.
Watch that dollar. Now don't take your eyes off that one. Now this is how you can increase your money. See, first you crease it there, and then you crease it there, then you crease it there. Now don't take your eyes off that one, because when you unfold it like this, you find it increases. Now it increases until it turns back into your $50 bill. Is that your 50, sir?
Yeah.
That it? Let's give him a big hand.
Yeah, I see exactly what you're
Very
talking about.
nice. Very nice.
Beautiful thing, right? That's a
Yep.
solid piece of magic, man. You can get 4 or 5 minutes out of that whole idea, that whole notion, and it's logical. It all makes sense. I think it's wonderful. I use the first half of it for those that have seen in the back room. That's how I get into the bill and the lemon, right? That's how I switch the bill out. I just burn it up in fire, and I use John's gag of it being a counterfeit bill. I lifted it right from John's act here because I think it's really a wonderful gambit, and I don't think that's all you can do with it. I think there's a lot more to do with this idea, with the concept, and I think it's I think it's a really cool thing that you can get a lot of mileage out of. I think that just that thing as it is just a wonderful piece of magic. So yeah, check it out. You guys should try it. If you're in the club, you know how to do every aspect of everything you saw there, right? Maybe it's worth bringing that into one of our favorite tricks just so we can actually talk about all the details.
Maybe you should, because the last like for my money, like Steve, you do a routine in your act with a bill. How does that one stack up in terms of the laughs per minute and the
Oh, I don't know if it compares like that. I just think
They're two different pieces.
Yeah, it's two different things. But I think what's really clever about it is the way he's using the bill switch. That's really the thing. And that was back, like, the bill switch was fairly new, right? It was the Kozlowski bill switch at that point.
Right.
Now we just call it the $100 bill switch. Like, talk about something that was ripped off, right?
Right. And
Right? I mean, it's just the bill switch, right?
It wasn't even Kozlowski. Kozlowski got it from a circus performer named Vlado. He's a Russian. Vlado. He was a Russian circus performer.
That guy got ripped
I
off.
learned it when I was young. Showed it to Kozlowski, and Kozlowski put out a manuscript, and now we have it.
And now we have it, exactly. But I think what's clever about it is it perfects that whole thing, right? So you get the bill, you swap it out, you know, in the first part of the switch, you ditch it then. Now you're just working the middle of that routine. And then in the end, you hand the guy back the wrong thing.
And you got fire in the middle. You can't be.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a neat, tight little self-contained routine.
And it's logical. So if you think back at it about the whole thing as a spectator, like every part of it makes sense, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, you know, it's straightforward, like you're saying, but it's also straightforward to perform. It's just a really nicely crafted little thing.
Agreed.
You know?
Yeah.
And there's no produce.
And there's no produce, right? It's 2 pieces of flash paper. How wonderful is that?
I mean, it's
you don't have to cut open a piece of fruit. You don't have to get your fingers sticky. It's great.
Beautiful.
He opened with that too. That which so weird is that not weird. Just I would think of that as a closer. I would tend to think of that routine as a closer. You know.
I think he did close with it. I think that was the end of that set, right? He had already done all the card stuff, and he said one more before you go, and then he did the bill.
Oh, okay. I thought Harry Anderson had just introduced.
I think that was grafted in because that castle performance, I put it in just because it was Harry Anderson and it's cool for us to see Harry Anderson. But I think the actual performer that introduced him was Daryl, right, in the 80s, because they were obviously buddies.
Right. So that was his closer then.
That was the closer. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Good. God, he is really good. So are we gonna get to explore more Cornelius? Is there?
We could, but it would be like 30-second tricks, and I didn't feel like it would be as entertaining to do that. That's why I sort of picked this and put this together for today. This represents a little bit of all the columns that you would choose from for John Cornelius. You know what I mean? So I think this is the one. But there's definitely way more, and if you're interested, get that book. That book has so many great things. There's so many great ideas. And you know what? Let me give you another one, Adam. Hang on a second. If you just stretch for a second, I can get another good one here.
Yeah, I was actually going to look up the store. So inside the Conjure Community Magic Store, I believe he said we have that book. And of course, if you're a CC member, not a bad idea to get your CC cash on that. I'm trying to find it right now. Yeah, here it is.
$45 in the store? Is that what Richie just said?
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Well, some folks think it's out of print. I didn't upload it. No, I don't have it. I'm sorry. I thought I had another one to give you.
And Aaron, Aaron was friends with Cornelius back in the day too. Yeah, here it is. Okay, I found it. Yeah, you're right. So it's $45 in the CC store. And of course, Conjure community members get CC cash on this one. So this is a really this is marked as a CC choice too. Like this is one of the
get
picks.
$9 back on that.
Yeah, that's a really good deal. Look at that, CC choice. So pick that up if you want.
That's
I think
a good book.
one.
Check out the Vanishing Nickel. I think it's one of the great coin vanishes, and it's so different from all the methods that you've ever seen for vanishing a coin. And it's, if you've ever seen, if you guys remember I think it was in the 90s, Siegfried and Roy had a TV special, and Siegfried tells the story of vanishing a coin. And it was the first thing he showed his father as a magician. And that's when he knew he was going to be a great magician. He's holding the coin in his hand. And he just closes his hand and then it's gone. That's Cornelius's coin vanish. It's a one-handed coin vanish and it's beautiful. I thought I'd uploaded it, but it's literally like a 30-second clip of him doing it. You know what I mean?
Somebody keeps saying Fickle Nickel. Was that the name of it?
That's what it was when he sold it to Ickle. It was the Ickle Pickle Fickle Nickel.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that just became the Vanishing Nickel. But yes, but it's in the book. It's in the book. And that alone is worth the price of the book, in my opinion, even though they sold it for like $10 as just a standalone trick. Henning did it on his special too. That's how strong it is. It's TV magic, right? That's how strong of a coin vanish it is. It's really good.